Hey everybody, welcome back to FSP, Forex-Stock-Predictions. Hope you are all having a great day. I am the Vortex Trader, and today we will be continuing our video series on support and resistance. This will be video number 7 in the series. If you did not catch video number 6 last week, I will be linking it up at the top right hand corner of your screen. Please feel free to check it out. Today, we will be going through an introduction to technical analysis. What is it? What is it? And is support and resistance just another tool in our technical analysis? Please remember to hit that like and subscribe button. And as always, let's get into the information of the day. So what do we have? Right? We are on Euro USD on the daily time frame. And we want to ask ourselves, is support and resistance technical analysis? And the answer is yes, it is, right? It's pretty much an introduction to technical analysis. It's pretty much the first thing you will learn when starting to discover this crazy world of technical analysis. Now, technical analysis itself, what is that? Technical analysis is looking at the chart, right? Jotting, making patterns, putting levels down, right? Deciphering things that have happened in the past, right? To see if they will happen again in the future. So for example, if we see a certain pattern, if we see a certain level, if we see a certain something, right, happen in the past on a chart, does that mean that it is going to happen again in the future? Right? We don't know, but this is what technical analysis is, right? The principle is looking at a chart, yes, and trying to decipher if something has happened before, will it happen again and play out in the exact same way as it did before, right? There is that famous saying that history doesn't often repeat itself, but it does tend to rhyme, right? And this is what technical analysis is. We plot certain things down onto a chart and we wait for them to occur again in the future. And if they do occur again, does that mean it's going to play out exactly the same way as it did in the past? We don't know. For example, right, this is why we use support and resistance as our very first introduction into technical analysis. Because let's take this for example, just because we are on this time frame and this is what we are looking at. Look here. We see that price came up and treated this zone as resistance, right? This exact zone. And you know what? I'm going to delete this. We're going to even make it clearer. Let's do this. I'm going to get as close to that candle wick as possible, right there. Okay, let's zoom up. Let's get in there real close. Right, look at this. Price came up, right? Treated this line as resistance. Bounced off of it, came back down, right? Now, this means if this happened before, that price came to this level, touched this level and bounced off of it, does this mean that it will happen again in the future? Well, what can we see happened? It did. It respected this zone of resistance, right? And twice it came up and bounced off that exact zone and came down again. Right, now this is what technical analysis is, right? Trying to spot patterns or things on a chart and seeing if they will happen again in the future. Okay, it doesn't always work that way, but support and resistance is your entry into technical analysis because price does not move without support or resistance. You need it to create a market, right? Let's use this one. Remember we discussed trend lines? Look at this. Remember in previous videos we discussed that trend lines show the movement of a market. They tell us if a market is bearish or bullish. Are we making lower lows and lower highs, or are we making higher highs and higher lows? We can treat this trend line as resistance, as we discussed, and we can see that price came up to this point right here and bounced off of that trend line, which is resistance. Does that mean when it comes up to the trend line again, once we line it up, will it bounce off of it again? Will it be rejected again? We don't know. This is what technical analysis is. We're trying to decipher the movement of price. Right now, we can see that so far, we seem to be bouncing off of it, right? But we don't know, right? We don't know. Price could just decide to do this, break right through, and then what? This is what I mean. It is not a perfect way to tell us what is going to happen with price, because if there was, we would all be billionaires. There is no perfect way, right? And because there is no perfect way, traders over the hundreds of years have tried to figure out different formulas and methods of adding things onto a chart, right? Which helps show us what price is doing. So we don't know if price is going to do the exact same thing it did in the past. Excuse me, we don't know. So what have traders invented throughout the years to help them figure these things out? Well, there's something called indicators, right? And support and resistance can be considered one of the most introductory but so important tools in our indicator list, right? Now, if you use TradingView, you know that there are hundreds, if not thousands, of indicators that traders like to use that all show different things on a chart. And traders will use these with their strategies to help show them when to enter or exit into a position, right? So for example, guys, I'm not going to be going through every single indicator and how they work because there are plenty. We would be here till next year, right? But for example, let me just show you one that I have currently on this chart. This is the Bollinger Bands. This is what it looks like, right? There are many theories and strategies that involve the Bollinger Bands, right? One being that when price touches the bottom of the band, it could be a time to buy. Or when price touches the top of a band, it could be a time to sell, as we can see, right? These indicators are lagging indicators, right? They collect the information over a period of time based on past performance, right? They cannot tell the future, right? There is another one called, for example, let's do the RSI. Trying to think of ones that you may know or have heard of. The RSI, the Relative Strength Index, is supposed to tell us when an asset or instrument is oversold, right, or overbought, right? The theory goes if price is under 30 or above 60, and you can set these parameters yourself, right? So if price is below and touching these bottom zones, it could be a time to buy. If price is above, it could be a time to sell. Now, traders can use this information with support and resistance, right? For example, we could say that when price is at a resistance level on the chart and at the same time is around the 50 level on the RSI, it could be a time to sell. And that would be our entry, right? And we could look back and see, this may have worked before. Let's see. When price is at resistance on the chart and could be around the 50 level point, it could be a time to sell. Well, here it is higher than the 50. It went up to 60. Here it went up to 60. Here it was around 50. Were we at resistance? Maybe. Over there we were. Support flipped resistance, yes. Do you see how traders will go through certain indicators, right? They will back test their theories, meaning they will rewind these charts and go through them over decades and decades of data to see if their strategy would work. Now, there are so many indicators that it would be really easy just to keep them all on your screen at the same time, which would really make the screen quite messy, right? Where we can't see anything, just lines and graphs and colors, right? So some traders would only use maybe one indicator at a time. Some traders would maybe just use no indicators, right? And trade without it. It all depends what works for you. I myself like to use an indicator called the MACD as well as volume. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. There is no right or wrong answer. The point that I'm trying to make, okay, is showing you that support and resistance, we plot ourselves onto a graph, right? It does not come in a list. We cannot input it through a various system. We decide where are these levels, right? Now you do get traders that will have support and resistance plotted out for them already, right? They will use an algorithm or a bot, right? Something that will, or AI that will show them these levels so they won't have to plot it out themselves. But you get some traders that prefer doing it themselves. And these levels are subjective. What I might call resistance, you might not call resistance. What I might call support, you might not call support. But technical analysis is the art of doing this, of going through these charts and deciding whether something is support or is resistance, right? Let me mark up this area right here because we can see clearly that this was support, bounced into support, flipped through, and flipped resistance. Yes? That is technical analysis right there. Without any other added indicators, we have looked at just support and resistance, right? And we have given ourselves the ability to try and see whether price will respect that movement without adding other indicators onto a chart. Like this, for example, an MA cross, 9 and 21, right? This just depicts the movement of price over a certain amount of days that you can set and choose yourselves, and shows you the average price over a period of days. Right, guys, so there is a whole list of indicators, but technical analysis itself is based on support and resistance. This is one of the first things you will learn, right, when learning how to do technical analysis. Marking up support and resistance levels, being subjective and finding them yourself, right? Then over time, if you feel that you understand support and resistance, you can incorporate other indicators to use with it. And slowly but surely you can formulate a strategy that will show you when to enter the market and when to exit. And there are already thousands of working strategies out there, right? You do not have to reinvent the wheel. I'm just trying to show you where these indicators come from, right? And why they are there, right? But this is what technical analysis is. And support and resistance play a vital role because they are the gates, the entry into technical analysis. And being the entry, they might be one of the most important technical analysis tools that you can use, right? Because we plot them on the graphs ourselves. We don't need an algorithm to do it for us. This is how I like to train the eye over time. Once we get really good at spotting where support and resistance levels are, this helps us immensely. Okay, guys. So, like I said, I'm not going through the indicator list. I want to keep these videos simple and effective. If you do have any questions about whether you think support and resistance is a technical analysis tool or not, please post it below in the comments, right? I will definitely get back to you. You can check out our website below. The link is in the description, right? We have a lot of traders that post different setups and ideas using solely only support and resistance, right? Yes, and the moral of the story is yes, support and resistance is indeed one of the best indicators that you can use. Okay, guys, that'll be it for today. I'm going to wrap up this video. Please remember to hit that like and subscribe button on your way out, and I will be definitely seeing you all in the next one. Thanks for watching.